So, good day, everyone. We're here for another episode of the DVD show. For today, we have a former UP Fighting Maroon in the women's volleyball circle, and currently she's in the Cignal team for the PVL. But then she was also before in the Motolite squad, and she's also an analyst at Cignal, and she has been covering like PVL, UAAP, and even the AVC when the other Asian clubs went here in the country. So I'll now welcome here to the DVD show, Ayel Estrañero. Thank you for joining me
Hey,
here in the podcast.
thank you, Diego. Thank you for that introduction. You did your research well, ah. I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you joining here the podcast, and I'm excited to learn more about your story and sports and even off the court. So we had to start things off. I wanted to ask how have you been doing now? There's no season. You guys are preparing for the PVL reinforced conference, and you have other stuff outside of volleyball. So how's life been treating you naman these past few days and weeks?
It's been, I'll be honest, it's been really hectic, especially that I feel like we're just transitioning back, no, from the pandemic na parang 'di ba there was a lull time, 2 years na online training lang, or if there's training it's bubble training, so you don't get to do a lot of stuff. So
Mm.
now that we're really back to normal, the we train and then there's a lot of other stuff that we can do. So basically
Mm-hmm.
we're back to our normal programming pre-pandemic. So I would say very hectic because again, I training off season or pre-season is more difficult than being on season kasi syempre mas doon kayo pinapatay kasi you're really preparing for like a battle in the tournament. So pag tournament mas medyo relax na talaga. I wouldn't say relaxed pero mas you're given
Yeah.
more time to rest given that also na when the pandemic happened, after it, when tournament returned, mas compressed na talaga yung schedule ng tournaments. It's not like pre-pandemic tournaments that it would last for 2 months, sometimes 3 months, diba? Because
Mm.
ilang days lang a week yung games, but right now they kind of compressed it. Now it's shorter this time. Mas maraming games in one day. So no, need more rest during the season talaga. So now off season, grabe yung training, especially that our next tournament is reinforced. So may mga
Mm.
imports, so you really have to prepare well. And then aside from that, like what you said earlier, I'm also an analyst. I'm working for Cignal as well. I'm playing for Cignal and working for
Yeah.
Cignal. So
Yeah.
currently I'm covering Spikers Turf, the
Mm,
men's
okay.
volleyball tournament, which is also really interesting. I'd be honest, it's the first time that I really indulged in men's volleyball, and it has been amazing. It's foreign to me kasi I've been playing volleyball, pero alam mo yun, the game of the
Iba.
men's
Yeah.
volleyball, it's very different. So parang I'm just learning to love the way they play while covering it. So it's really interesting. And aside from that also, I'm taking my master's, my MA in psychology in UP Diliman as well. So alam mo yun, parang sabay-sabay. But it has been my life as well, parang pre-pandemic. So parang hindi pa rin ako tapos sa student-athlete life. Parang dinagdagan
Mm.
pa ng work,
Yeah.
another work pa. So parang grabe yung work-life balance. But when you love what you're doing, you get a lot of energy out of it. So it's been really hectic, but it has been, exciting, and a lot of opportunities are coming. So a lot of
Mm.
blessings.
Yeah, sa dami nga ng mga ginagawa mo, and for me it's like all exciting and worthwhile because yeah, it's all like you all have a goal that you're achieving in each of it. Do you
Yeah.
think na nakatulong din yung hybrid setup or like yung work from home? Because I'm not sure if like some of the work you do or some of the like classes you have are from the house. Imagine if it was pre-pandemic, you'd go from place
Yeah.
to place and you do all these things. Do you think that also helped in you pursuing all these things at the same time?
Honestly, yes. It helped that my classes are still online right now because I
Mm-mm.
cannot imagine running from Paco, Manila to UP Diliman, then going
Yeah,
back to Paco Arena to cover game. So
yeah.
it's I mean, there's always a pros and cons and things that happened in the pandemic. I'd admit that when I started my MA na through online classes, especially when everyone was transitioning. Students were
Mm-hmm.
transitioning, professors were transitioning, the education system was transitioning. It was hard, the
Mm-hmm.
adjustment period, it was hard. And I thought na parang, I don't like online classes kasi there's more workload, mas
Yeah.
self-study siya because some classes are asynchronous. I like listening to teachers, hearing what other classmates would talk about or share. But right
Mm-hmm.
now, na parang my schedule is super hectic. I like how I still have online classes and my masters kasi I get to do a lot of things, and just stay at home while in class. At least parang it's also an opportunity for me to rest kasi pag training, parang tuloy-tuloy kasi siya eh. When I'm training, after yung training ko, I'd cover. And then sometimes
Mm-hmm.
after I cover games, I have classes. But I think it's also about time management and energy management as well. Sometimes if
Mm-hmm.
super pagod na ako, I don't take like covers. I say na parang I have class, I have something, I've committed to something else. So it's just really managing work and balancing everything. But yeah, like it's really a big advantage to me na online pa yung classes ko and I can still work a little at home.
Mm. And you talked about balancing all these things that you're doing, and of course nakatulong yun na student athlete ka since before na volleyball player ka nung college and everything. Pero how would you say that your gradual progress has been in balancing all these things, especially na now nga iba na that you even analyst before you weren't an analyst, and you
Yeah.
have other stuff you do on the side, and yun nagkaroon pa ng pandemic, so there's another like roadblock to the stuff that you wanted to do. So how did you start? Syempre now siguro you're doing well na in balancing all these things, but how did it start for you, and how did you continue growing and building on it?
I think it helped that I started really young in the sport in volleyball. So I
Mm.
started when I was in grade 3. And I was a very active student back in grade school, in high school. So
Mm.
I studied in La Salle Bacolod. I was very active in the council, in co-curricular activities, and a lot of activities in school. So parang
Mm.
at a really young age, I kind of learned the value of time management and really
Mm.
prioritizing what I need to prioritize. So, I feel like, ano lang siya, like, it takes a lot of experience, I guess. And, again, it helped na I started at a young age. So, now that I'm at this point of my life, I know how to manage it more. Kasi I would remember back in high school, there was this instance kasi na parang, I was in council, I was playing volleyball, and like the demands of being a student as well, it's not easy. So
Mm.
parang I was very stressed na. I was young. I was in high school, first year high school, or probably grade 7.
Mm.
So super stressed na ako, and I was like, I wanna give up one. I really wanna give up one, and I wanted to give up volleyball. Then I talked to my
Mm.
parents. Like, "No, ayoko na. Like I am so stressed. I just wanna focus in council. I wanna do well in my academics." And then it helped that my mom is the one who always pushes me. Na she
Mm.
always tells me, no, kaya mo yan. We're here to support you. Just tell us what you need from us, what we can do to support you. I feel like also I have that privilege to, be in a household that is very supportive of the things I'm doing. Even on the things that I didn't want to do, they made me realize na hey, you can do it. You just
Mm.
need to know how to manage it well. So I had proper guidance from my parents as well. I wouldn't take all the credit from, my sole experience of everything, but no, it
Mm.
takes an entire community actually to build and really build who I am today. So yon, it was really the experience from a really young age up to now na parang dami kong ginagawa lagi. I think I'm the type of person who likes doing a lot. I like being
Mm.
productive. I like putting myself out there. But also I'm always shy and I'm kind of introvert. People think I'm an extrovert,
Ah.
but
Yeah.
it's just that I like talking. I like talking to
Yeah.
people. Like I like
Mm.
conversing. I like hearing their stories, but not really put myself out there like what I'm doing right now. Because I actually, if you
Mm.
know Boom Gonzalez, one of
Yeah,
the
I
anchors.
interviewed him also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in one of my covers in the UAP, so UAP,
Okay.
that's when I really started being an analyst.
Yeah.
I was in the comfort room, the CR. I was like practicing, so nervous. I'm always nervous. I'm never nervous when I cover games. And then sakto, I went out and then Boom was there also. I was like, I'm so nervous. And he was like, why? Why are you nervous? I said, I feel like I'm really an anxious person. You know, I'm always nervous
Mm.
in all of this. And then and I was telling him na I'm honestly wondering how I'm still able to do it. Like I'm still in awe of na parang kaya ko magsalita for 2 hours, like on air, like analyzing, talking.
Mm.
And then he actually explained it to me, and it kind of made sense to me also. He was telling me na all my interviews back in college, and whenever I would be the one they would guest in the sports shows, like
Yeah.
interviews.
Yeah.
Sometimes they would put me in some segments. He was telling me all of that, all of those things you did before prepared you for this. Like he was referring
Mm.
to being an analyst. And I was like,
Mm.
oh nga, no? Because I wouldn't,
Yeah.
I'm the type to really shy away. You know, I
Mm.
took communication research in UP Diliman. So there's a lot of reporting. There's a lot of presentation of research.
Yeah.
And I would always shy away from those presentations. Like I do the research, I do the PowerPoint maybe, but I wouldn't present because I'm always shy and parang
Mm.
I speak so fast kasi gusto ko tapos na. So yun, so it's really the support of the people around me and then family, you know, colleagues, like the people I'm working with right now. So again, it's time management really and you know, energy management na. I'm happy where I'm right now. I'm not saying that it's easy and it's not tiring or exhausting,
Mm.
but you know, I get a lot of energy from it.
Yeah. That's a great answer for you to share nga kasi not people will have that perspective or have that blessing that you're receiving in order to have the opportunity to have all these ventures you have now. But it's also great that you mentioned already about your upbringing in childhood because I always ask my guests about that since I'm curious since yung mga interviews niyo talks about current events na sa sports. So,
Yeah.
hindi na masyado nabibigyan pansin yung mga where you came from. So you mentioned that you came from Lasal Bacolod. So maybe you could also expound if volleyball was like your first love or were you doing other activities when you were a child and when was like the turning point when you felt that you could seriously pursue volleyball and go here to Manila?
Honestly, volleyball wasn't my first sport, and it was an accident why I'm in volleyball right now. No, this is the
Oh.
story I say always, but I'm not sure if it's the right memory, if I have the right memory of how I started. So
Mm-mm.
before, my parents would always put us to summer class. 'Di ba pag summer, pag kids
Yeah.
kayo, wala kayong masyadong ginagawa. You're just at home. So they would always put us in summer class. Like I remember I would go to drawing classes before, painting classes before for a few weeks.
Yes.
I had one summer I did swimming. I had one summer or like because I did ballet also. I enjoyed ballet. It's because I
Mm.
like what we were like yung mga
Yeah.
yeah, basta
Yeah.
yung outfit namin.
Yung
I liked
outfit
it.
tsaka yung mga ginagawa.
Yeah, yung outfit. I
Yeah.
did track and field also. So feeling ko at a young age, I was really sporty. But I fell in love with ballet. But I had to stop because my mom said the instructor was very strict. Baka ma-traumatize ako. I asked her, why did I stop? I enjoyed it. And explain niya sa akin when I was older na. When I was younger, she didn't explain it to me. But anyway, moving forward, there was this PE teacher entering our classroom back in grade 3 telling us na, hey, there's a tryout for volley. And I'm very
Mm.
biased. I heard ballet. Okay, there's a tryout for ballet. I like that. I still want ballet. So, I told my mom, I think this is my memory, but I'm sure na hindi ito exactly yung nangyari. So, parang my mom went with me. Apparently, I have clothes. So, nung pumunta ako doon, I thought I was going to a ballet tryout or something. But it was a volleyball tryout pala. So, yon. So, andun na ako. And then, at my age that time, I was kind of tall na. So, sabi ng coach, oh,
Ah,
you might
okay.
want to try. You might want to
Yeah.
try. I was like, okay, I'll try this one. And then yun na. And then yun na, tuloy-tuloy na talaga siya. You know, when you start a sport and when you kind of enjoy it when you're young, you just continue it. Kasi it's not that stressful. You're young. You just
Mm-mm.
love being active. The competitive part wasn't something na into my awareness that time nga. It was just really, oh, I like playing. And then dati parang softball pa yung bola. It's not the hard ball that you really use when you're in elementary or when you're
Mm.
in high school na. Basta like
Yeah.
when we were in LaSalle kasi they're that basic talaga. So I think I'm
Mm.
lucky also that I came from a really good volleyball program in high school. And
Mm-hmm.
then eventually I continued playing up until high school. And then I would we would our team would usually go to regionals, nationals. So I'd get exposed to teams from Manila also. Because again, I'm
Mm.
lucky I'm in a really good volleyball program. We would
Yeah.
always be the one to represent our region or to represent our province. Like we would go to Cebu, Davao for Shakey's Girls V League. So you know, I'm that exposed to the volleyball world, not just in our city, not just in our province, but outside. So I get to know players, I get to
Mm-hmm.
know coaches, and I have teammates who went to Manila first. Um, Giselle Tan, Bea Tan,
Yeah.
Kim Hikaliana, the ones from Ateneo. I
Mm-hmm.
have a few teammates who went to UST. But so I was already thinking if I wanted to go to DLSU because some Lasallian brothers were telling me, oh, you might want to continue playing in LaSalle. But my mom studied in UPLB. And
Ah,
then
okay.
she was telling me a lot about the life in UP, like the freedom, the how liberated people are. Those were the exact
Mm-mm.
words that really, that I could really remember. And I was like, I'm kind of curious. I want to go to UP. And I knew that volleyball was my second priority. I really
Mm.
wanted to be in a university with a good quality of education because I never thought that there would be such thing as professional volleyball or
Yeah.
semi-commercial volleyball. Wala
Yeah.
pa naman yun before eh.
For
And
sure.
even
Oh.
before, parang it was a small thing pa lang.
Mm.
Back then, you wouldn't imagine na it would be this big as it is right now. So
Mm.
I wanted to be in a university with a good quality of education. So I told my coach, again, there are some opportunities that come your way, but there are also some opportunities na you have to, present yourself to it.
Yes.
So that
Mm.
was me when I was in high school, when I wanted to study in Manila, to study in UP. Told my high school coach, can you tell Coach Jerry, who was the coach in UP that time, na I want to go to UP, that I want to study in UP.
Yeah.
So, uni games before, university games, where a lot of schools from Manila and a lot of schools from different parts of the Philippines would join. It's always, the venue would be always in Bacolod or Iloilo, somewhere in Visayas. So, sakto
Mm.
that time, on my fourth year, dun sa Bacolod. So, sakto, my
Mm.
coach told Coach Jerry that time na, hey, one of my players want to go to UP. And then, yun nga, Coach Jerry said, let's keep in touch. And then he called me for a tryout, and then he put me in UP. So alam mo yun, I'm just happy na there's that no certain scenario na parang that really small opportunity, that small door of opportunity na sakto na sa
Mm.
Bacolod din si Coach Jerry. Na that's when I also realized na I wanted to study in UP. So,
Mm.
but your love for the sport, it changes. It really transitions. Like, when you're young, you're happy, go lucky. There's not a lot of pressure. But when you gain more experience, when much is expected of you, and there's more pressure, sometimes you question, masaya pa ba ako? Let's be honest. Like, it's not all just happy and passion in the sport. There's also a lot of struggles. And, sometimes you kind of question na parang is this still what I want to do, or like I want to
Mm.
stay in this sport for so long, or do I want to pursue something else, especially na parang a lot of there's also that opportunity to make the sport your work talaga. So
Mm.
there's a transition, and you kind of really reflect on whether you want to stay long or not. But right now I'm really happy na I still get to play, alam mo yun, like not a lot of players get to be in our position and call ourselves professional volleyball players, di ba? Kasi
Mm.
recently lang naman naging professional talaga yung volleyball. It just used to be semi-commercial. So,
Mm.
yun, a lot of transitions through time in my love for the sport. But it wasn't my first love for sure. It was ballet. But, you know, sometimes you're put in places na where you're more meant to be. So I guess volleyball is one thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a great story, nga, and it's also a great validation that sometimes you really need to present yourself, and sometimes the opportunity is just there, and that you're lucky to have it, and it's great that you grabbed both. I mean, either you were
Yeah,
lucky or you needed to have the initiative. You succeeded in both, so it's something that the fans or like the viewers should keep note that even if it's not sports related, like any kind of opportunity, you never know kung saan ka mapupunta if
exactly. Yeah,
you
I
take
agree.
it.
I agree.
So, so yeah, it's great that they could take that from your journey. But then you mentioned UP nga, and everyone knows na top-notch education yan dito sa Pilipinas. And that's also great that the community has been supporting the basketball and the volleyball team. I mean, at least yun yung nakikita ko na it's been growing over the last like what 5 years. And nung
Yeah,
nag-champion nga
I
kayo, I
agree.
remember nung 2018 sa PSL and the what's that? The what do you call this? The
PVL
hindi siya
also.
PVL eh. PVL na ba tawag na nung time?
Yeah, I think PVL
Yeah, I
na
think yeah,
that time.
PVL na yeah. You guys won two collegiate championships. I should say yeah, you guys won two championships in that year. So how has the community been supporting you guys? Like how has it grown from when you were there in the beginning until even now na even sa basketball nag-champion na sila sa UAP? Like gaano ka laki yung support ng UP and gaano ka laki yung tulong nila so to you guys?
I'm lucky I was in a transition phase. I was part of when I entered, there's not much support. It was only the alumni. Like our
Yeah.
alumni would like, like mag-aambagan sila para supportahan kami. So, when I entered UP, yung court namin, ang dami pang parang mga butas-butas. Like,
Oh
alam mo yun,
yeah, I hear that story.
you have to memorize kung saan
Yeah.
yung butas sa court para maiwasan mo siya while doing the
Yeah.
drills.
Mm.
And then, I remember na when classes started, they renovated the entire gym. So we had to
Mm.
commute going to Recto where our coach has a parang high school team before and we would train there. So imagine
Mm.
commuting
Okay.
from UP to Recto every day just to train for 3 months.
Traffic.
As in talaga, like
Yeah.
sometimes we would just take the LRT para it's so much faster kasi
Okay.
the traffic in Katipunan and QAV is crazy. Like
Yeah.
malilate lang kami sa training and pag na-late kami ng almost an hour, wala, paparusahan na kami. Kasi syempre, you can't be late in training kasi nga
Yeah. Yeah.
dapat supposedly you fix your schedule to fit in the training time.
Mm.
And then, um, Tots Carlos and Isa Moldes batch came in. And
Mm.
it was when their batch came in that nowhere to go but up was that certain organization
Yeah.
was put up. So parang there were a lot of support, not just from our alumni, na volleyball
Mm.
players then, but from the alumni of the entire UP community. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I was in first year, yung UP supporters, like it wouldn't feel an entire part, like a
Mm.
small part of an arena. So now that it has transitioned into this, phase na parang yung isang side ng buong MOA, you see a sea of maroon, people
Yeah.
wearing maroon shirts. No,
Mm.
I'm just happy na I get to appreciate it more because I came from my first year na halos wala. And I
Mm.
saw how it grew. And I saw how genuine the supporters were, how much
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to, support even just in, ano mo yun, yung after meals lang na, na food
Mm-mm.
after ng game. So, it's not just like just a small group of people helping out teams. And I'm not just saying na volleyball and basketball lang. There are small supports also to other teams, and I feel like it's also getting bigger and bigger right now. Because even the facilities in UP, they're being renovated and all of that. Because it's nice to know that they see the importance na you have to also have a good facility. Because I would remember before, imagine that entire gym in UP, halos lahat ng teams doon nagtitraining tapos sira-sira
Oh.
yung I mean, diba? So, I would say the players in UP right now, the athletes in UP right now are very lucky. Because,
Mhm.
they get that kind of support. They get to experience that kind of facilities. But in our time, meron naman, but it's not as much as they have right now. But
Mm.
yeah, it it's really different when you play. I'm not just saying in UP, but in UAAP, because I feel like you would also understand that the school
Yes.
spirit is so different.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Ateneo as your rival,
Yeah.
diba? So
Mm.
so yung school spirit talaga, you would really feel it. Like there's that certain feeling that you can't really put words to it. You just feel it.
Mhm.
Na parang it really warms your heart to know na you're part of that community. And I feel that
Mm.
way when I think about the UP. Because UP is really my home. I lived there for like what, 5 years, 6 years. Out of high school, I was away from family. So UP is really a big part of who I am right now. The people I've met in UP, not just my classmates, but again, the supporters, my teammates, just the entire community as a whole. The things
Mhm.
I've learned in the campus, in that entire big campus of UP, na sobrang hirap when your classes are so far away from each other. Like,
Mm.
I would say yung character development ko went from 0 to 100 real quick when I entered UP. Just so much
Mm.
changes, especially that coming from, a private Catholic school in the province,
Mm.
and then going to UP na it's very open to a lot of things. So a lot of learnings and a lot of growth happened in that campus.
Yeah, that's really great na. That's why I wanted to ask you that question nga kasi yeah, I know you were part of the process and when UP started to gain more traction like exposure in the UAP scene because yeah before nga I feel like they were one of the players like kumara hindi pumunta sila sa Ateneo did go to UP lang like I hear sila Mikey Reyes and sila Diego Dario like during their time nung UP diba like people would make fun of them lang and make jokes out of it but then that switched na during that time when you were there and in the basketball scene when sila Paul Desiderio were there sila Juan Gomez de la Llano so it's great that that really shifted the tide for UP but you guys made the Final Four in 2016. I remember, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
in the UAP. So how was that for UP? Because I know that yeah, people don't really see them as like a winning culture kind of. I know, but then that year you proved everyone wrong. So how did that feel like for you guys that you took a major step in the UAP scene?
I think it's good that you mentioned yung winning culture and all, because I feel like,
Mm.
diba, like UP is just there, but it's always the team na parang nasa bottom talaga. Let's be honest, like we've been there for so long, so parang alam mo yun,
Mm.
it's hard also na masanay ka na andun ka lang. So it really took a lot of hard work, took a lot of change in mindset, change in culture, change in the way we saw things for us to be there. So again, it was also a big part also of that is the kind of support we received from sponsors, from the UP community. Um, it was hard. It was hard kasi for you to really build that winning culture, a lot is at stake. Like, alam mo yun, like,
Mm.
a lot of changes needs to be done. But we're lucky nga na yung batch nila Tots Carlos and nila Isa. No, it was a really strong batch. Like, yung batch na
Mm.
yun talaga, it was really promising. So, I feel like, uh, yung impact nila and, the change and the shift in the mindset na dinala nila was really big, I would say. And
Mm-hmm.
syempre, like, they're used to winning in high school. So again, that winning culture, nadala din nila. And at least, they created that impact, the change in energy also and mindset to the team.
Mm.
So, yeah, we were really happy that we were able to reach the Final Four. It's just that, again, we weren't able to, bring that kind of momentum in our next UAP seasons. Now, we hope na sana, di ba, na dala din namin and we've able to translate it into the next UAP seasons, but we weren't able. But overall, I think for me, like personally, my journey in the UAP was no something that I'm still proud of, despite the fact na no we weren't really able to reach the finals in the UAP. Although we won a few championships sa mga preseason tournaments, but iba pa rin, diba, talaga if you won a UAP championship.
UAP, yeah.
But yeah, it's really different. Let's be honest. But again, I remember, and the reason why I'm still proud of that entire journey in not just in the UAP but in collegiate volleyball, is because I remember when I entered UP, I told myself I don't want to graduate without any championship, at least. Like it doesn't have to be in UAP, but at least in some other tournament. So it was really a surprise to me na we got that two championships, like preseason tournament pa back in 2018. And that's something na not only me but I'm sure a lot of us is proud of, because again, I'm not sure how long that was, 12 years, 36 years drought. I can't really
Yeah,
remember.
36, I think, yung
36, right?
championship. Yeah.
Drought for like a volleyball of UP. And not just that, I also played beach volley before. And
Yeah.
I was playing with Tots Carlos and Isa Molde, and we're also able to win a bronze medal. So it was also big for us. Like, big wins, small wins are still wins in life. So it was something
Yeah.
we're really proud of, because it took a lot for us also, a lot of hard work and sacrifices. Like I remember going to training in MOA at what mga 6, we finished late night na, nakakauwi kami sa UP mga 12 na, we have class the next day.
Wow.
That's for beach volley. So
Mm.
people would always see just the surface level of being an athlete, because they only see us in games. So it's so easy for them to say na parang, that athlete is not good. That athlete is super good. Like,
Yeah.
they label us in the way they see our game, but they don't entirely know the entire process we go through just to be there, just to try to be at our best form when we're out there in the arena or the court or the field. Whatever sport you're in, diba? It's really a long, tiring process. It may make you happy and really feel you na parang, parang provide you with that kind of fulfillment. Pero, there are also bad days and struggles. And we're not even talking about mental health yet of athletes. We're just talking
Yes.
about the certain sacrifices and struggles that athletes needs to go through to be able to attain their full potential. So, yeah, it's hard that Final Four appearance, the few championships we gained, and it's something that we really hold close to our heart, that I think also really helped us to just get better and better. Something that inspired us, and no, up until now we kind of still talk about it, but no, we've grown a lot from that day, and now that we're in professional volleyball.
Yeah, it's really great to hear that the Final Four stint that really made a huge mark to you guys. It was a huge accomplishment for UP, and I don't know, for me, it was more of also a springboard for winning those 2018 championships and the PVL and
Yeah, that's
PSL.
true.
So I wanted to touch on that also and how much that meant to you guys and the UP volleyball team and the UP community. That I remember the PVL one. I think that was the one I watched, and sobrang saya nyo. I mean, like, you guys nga won a championship, people will maybe discount it nga na preseason, but then they don't know nga what you guys went through to actually achieve
Yeah.
something of that magnitude. So how would you express or like encapsulate the feeling of you guys as a team of winning that championship? Kasi nga, you mentioned that tagal na hindi na nanalo yung UP in volleyball, and finally you guys were able to get over the hump in those two tournaments.
Honestly, like, I was the last one to serve and score a point during the
Mm.
PVL final. So everything was a blur to me after that. Like literally when the ball hit the court of the opponent, like nag-blur talaga lahat, like legit. Like, oh
Mm-mm.
my gosh, is this really real? Like super wala, I can't believe at that moment na nakaya namin yun. Because we were down 8.6 points. So parang
Mm-hmm.
hinabol talaga namin. And I think, no, that win really was a boost of confidence for the entire team and individually also. It was sort of a validation na okay, all the hard work for the past years. Because again, the hard work that you put into the hard work. Parang it's not just, it's not like you just train for a month. That championship that we actually gained was like, it took years for us to, to really prepare for. Na parang, okay,
Mm-hmm.
maybe this is really our time. But,
Mm-hmm.
for the past years, we've already been training, going to training twice a day, waking up early, sleeping late because we're not just athletes, we're also students. A lot of sacrifices, like what I've been trying to reiterate. So, it was a big boost of confidence for us. And I think also it was a good validation that Coach Okumu, our coach during that time, was teaching
Yeah.
us something, really well. Because honestly, we learned a lot from Coach Okumu, like in terms of, volleyball strategies, like,
Mm-hmm.
his knowledge in volleyball. He was really able to impart to us, and that we were really able to, put it into action and execution. So, yung volleyball IQ namin, malaking bagay din that you have a coach who knows a lot about volleyball and knows a lot about volleyball technique. So, a boost of confidence, and not just that, it was a big for us because I'm sure na hindi lang yung sarili namin yung, we weren't able to just make ourselves proud, but we were able to make, the entire community proud, and also our families. We always talk about teammates, talk about, the entire community, but behind us also, we have our families who's been there for us, like, especially in our low points and high points. So, big boost of confidence and something that we're proud of na we were able to bring the championship for the UP, not just for the team, but the entire community. Because again, in UAP, it's not just the team, it's the entire school
Yeah,
community that matters.
for sure. Mm-mm. Yeah, it was really a great sight to see for the volleyball fans like me that UP won it. But then you also mentioned a lot about UAP na iba talaga yung UAP, and now UP is also having promising players like Bertolano. I saw her play last season, and Encarnacion, and they have a bright future ahead of them as well. But then I believe they have a new coaching staff coming up for season 85 when it will begin. So as an analyst now and as a fan of the UAP, what's your assessment on the UP Fighting Maroons, and how do you think they could improve from their standing last season?
I'm really happy for UP right now because their coach, Coach Shaq, is also my coach in Signal right now.
Oh yeah,
So
oo nga pala.
I
Mm.
really know how Coach Shaq
Mm.
works. Like, I know how he teaches. I know how, he explains what he's teaching. So
Mhm.
I'm happy that they're with Coach Shaq because I know that they're gonna learn a lot. They're gonna improve a lot. But again, like, it takes a lot of time to really learn the system of a coach, to really improve,
Mhm.
to build that connection, that chemistry. But yeah, you mentioned Bertolano, Encarnacion, a lot of really good players in UP right now that are making their own names for themselves. And syempre, I wouldn't say that it's gonna be an easy Final Four appearance for them because I
Mm.
covered UAP. I know players, I know teams. Everyone's really good right now. And
Mhm.
when I try to really, look at these players, ang galing talaga ng mga bata ngayon.
Oo.
Their IQ, their IQ in the sport, yung perseverance nila, yung resilience nila, I just see so much potential in the younger generation in volleyball right now. That's the future of
Mm.
Philippine volleyball because, we're not getting any younger. So there's that big another generation that's coming in. So
Mm.
nakaka-proud lang na again, even though UP wasn't able to be in the final four again, but I saw how much they fought. I saw
Mhm.
their effort also. I visited them during the UAP. I I
Mm,
I
okay.
I, I was able to visit them and got to talk to them, and it's just also inspiring in my part that I was once in that position. So parang
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm here in this position, I'm playing professional volleyball, and I'm still given that privilege to still play, because again, not all volleyball players get to be in our position. No, I want to be able to give back also to the younger players, and give them, like, a few advice, like how it worked for us before, like what worked well, what didn't work well, how will they be able to manage the pressure, because again, it's not just all fun in the sport. No, pressure
Mm-hmm.
is something normal and big in the sport, na parang, when people think about pressure, they think that it's something negative. But again, it's a matter of perspective, how you will take it and how you will see it. Because again, pressure will always be there. So
Mm-hmm.
yun, I hope that they'll do better in the next season. But just more than that, I'm happy that they're with the system of Coach Jack de los Santos, because he's really amazing as a coach, and I'm sure that the players in UP will learn a lot from him, and they will just get better, and hopefully also transition into professional volleyball as they graduate in UP in the future.
Yeah, exciting times ahead for the UP team, and hopefully nga they'll be able to have a better standing from season 84, and maybe they had a have tough time adjusting as well because of the compressed schedule, and they had less training time than a usual UAP season. So yeah, maybe a final four spots near them. But I wanted to go back na to your journey as a volleyball player, and you mentioned a couple of times na, nga na you never imagined na magkakaroon ng professional volleyball. So after playing for UP, and how was the decision process like for you to continue playing at the professional level, or semi-pro pa siya noon, but now it's already pro? Like you
Yeah.
played for Motolite and Cignal. So how was that process for you, and how has it been like, since tuloy-tuloy pa naman yan, you're not like gonna stop anytime soon? So how have you enjoyed it?
Um, I think when the semi when the commercial volleyball started,
Mm-mm.
I wasn't super convinced yet that I was gonna pursue volleyball after
Mm-mm.
college, because I was the type to always think about, okay, I wanna work, I wanna help out, I wanna pursue the career that I
Mm-hmm.
want outside the volleyball. But again, another opportunity arrived. Motolite was there. I was gonna play with my teammates in UP. Was gonna be under my Coach Okumu. So
Mm-hmm.
parang, why not, 'di ba? Why not? Because until I can play, I still want to play. At least nung time na yon, 'di ba? Na parang that was my mindset, na parang okay, kasi okay pa naman ako eh, kaya ko pa naman, like I'm fresh out of college. I can take a gap year, like I can still play, and while I'm playing, maybe reflect on the things I want to do after volleyball or in the future.
Mm-mm.
But sometimes you say some things, but something different happens to you.
Mm-mm.
So, diba, the pandemic happened, Motolite disbanded. Again, I was reflecting, do I still want to play volleyball, or do I want to pursue sports psychology, because I was already starting my MA during the time when Motolite disbanded. But
Mm-mm.
Cignal again gave me the opportunity to play, and then mindset was, why not? Kasi kaya ko pa naman eh. Like, I still get to play.
Mm-mm.
I can still manage, balancing both, like playing, and school, and now work, 'di ba? So I guess because volleyball has been part of me for so long, no, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to point out, like, until when will I play? Like, hanggang kailan ko ba
Yeah,
gusto
for
maglaro?
sure.
Because up until now, I really still want to play because I'm still enjoying. So,
Mm-mm.
again, kasi sobrang tagal niya na, I don't know when to really end it. And I'm not the type to say, okay, until dito lang, hanggang dito
Mm.
lang ako. I've always been the type to, take it as the opportunity arrives. And then, I'm the type also to plan things. But hindi naman ako yung tipong sobrang structured ko talaga. Diba?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so now that I am still in this position, I still have this blessing and opportunity to play. You know, I've always just been the type of person na just stay in the moment, just stay in the present. So I guess that's what I'm doing right now. When
Mm-hmm.
I'm in training, I give my 100% there. When I'm at work, when I'm someone as an analyst, I give my 100% there. Well, when I'm studying, I focus on what I'm doing. I think that's something that really helps me to manage my time. But you know, not everyone gets to be in a sport that, or like a sport na you can call na you're someone na a professional athlete, 'di ba? And to
Mm-hmm.
be fair, our ID has what, 20% discount in a lot of restaurants.
Oh,
So
legit.
that's like a big plus.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We
Mm.
have like 20% discount in a lot of restaurants and stores. So yeah, perks. May
Oh,
perks
okay.
pa kami.
Hindi ko alam yun, ah. Bagong knowledge ko yun. Natutunan tonight. So, yeah, that's really great to hear nga that I think for you, yeah, you could continue playing pa naman kasi alam mo naman yung lifespan ng athlete, diba? Hindi naman
Yeah.
mahaba. Like, umabot na ng mga 40, konti na lang yung mga nakakalaro past that age. Like, if you look at the people in the
That's so
States,
true.
yeah, like, di ba,
So
konti na
true.
lang ang they could play at high level. Like, yung mga LeBron, yung mga Serena Williams, those kinds of players. Konti na lang yung
And
mga ganun.
really, when you're getting older, like I would say,
Hmm.
you really have to prioritize your rest and how you take good care of your body, because
Yeah.
I've really changed as an athlete, because back in college it's hard to not invest so much time in academics as well, because if not, you're not gonna really progress also. So I'm the type to really stay up late, tapos konti lang yung tulog, but then I get to still train, like I'm
Mm.
still 100%. But right now I need like 7 to 8 or 10 hours of sleep so that
Oo.
I could be my 100% the next day. So that's
Mhm.
the one thing also you learn in the sport na, yeah, you have that body na you can use to play the sport, but you also have to respect your body and stay disciplined and taking good care of it. You really can't abuse your body if you want to stay long in the sport. So
Mhm.
right now, again, it's really time management for me, that I get to still rest well and do the things that I'm doing, because if not, I wouldn't be able to be 100% in everything that I do. So it's a good reminder that more than anything, rest is very important. Like, don't put aside your rest, your sleep, like prioritize it more than anything else.
Mm. That's great that you were able to learn that talaga and talagang na-apply mo na siya kaagad even at a young age nga because some people, alam mo yun, they still like partying kahit
Yeah.
athlete. I mean, like they don't know how to balance the stuff, that leisure time and their job talaga. So at least for you, you're able to realize that right away and you're able to act. And yeah, look at you now, we're able to pursue other things outside of being a player for Cignal. But speaking of Cignal, and syempre since kanina sinasabi mo na rin na you kept answering the opportunity and you don't deny the opportunity when it's given to you. Like in Signal, that's what I see also when you're playing in the court. Like there were times na they needed a spark plug and you would provide it and you would catapult the team to victory. So how has your stint been in Signal so far na yun nga, important piece ka pa din sa team and you're able to play with the likes of Rachel Andakis and all these players from Signal?
I think because I've been in multiple positions when I was in college. I was
Mm.
put as a spiker, I was put as a libero, I was put as a setter. I learned during that time that it doesn't matter when you're put in as a first six or when you're in the bench. What matters is what you're able to contribute. And whenever you're put in the court, you just give your 100%. And when it doesn't mean that when you're not playing in the court, you're not doing anything, because you're also helping out your team during in training, like a simple like cheering on the side helps your team. So,
Mm.
like I feel like also mindset is very important, because there are some players na when they're not in the lineup, or when they're not in the first first six, or first
Mm.
five in the basketball or whatsoever what you call
Yeah.
it, no, sometimes na panghihinaan sila ng loob. But,
Yeah.
you just always have to trust that the work you put into training, as long as you really work hard, as long as you put in that effort, as long as you stay disciplined in what you're doing, it will
Mm-hmm.
really translate into your game, especially when you're put in. No, you will always be able to contribute. And I think I've always have that mindset, and I've brought that when Cignal put me in or got me in as their player. Na whenever I'm put in, I just really try to be my 100% and just really try to contribute. Like Coach Chuck would always say na gaano man yan katagal, ilang minutes lang yan, ilang seconds lang yan. Like quality minutes talaga when you're put in the court. And you can always be that game changer, or you can, like what you said earlier, that spark that the team needed. So, as long as you are able to prepare and just stay disciplined, you just don't go to the game just to play the game, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Preparation is key talaga. So you just don't have to be the 100% in the game, but in training you also have to be 100%. So put in that work, stay disciplined, be consistent to what you're doing. That kind of mindset, I think, and I'm sure a lot of players also have that kind of mindset. It will really translate into your game, no matter how short or long you're put into the field or the court.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Yeah, that's
journey
a
so far in Signal, it's been amazing. Like
yeah.
I've always been the parang ate in UP. So
Mm-hmm.
parang now that I'm in Signal, I have the ates with me na parang
Yeah.
to guide me and learn from also. It's really nice. It's heartwarming to know na you have that people also to talk to, like share things about life and all. Because again, we're not just athletes, we're also human beings, and we have a life outside volleyball or our
Mm.
sport, diba? So it's nice to have the mga ates with me also in the team, and some other players also na came from different schools and sports
Mm.
program. It's interesting how we learn from each other and how we build that chemistry and connection as we continue playing in the professional league.
Yeah, that's great that you're able to learn from these veterans nga and absorb all the knowledge that you can from them, and also coach Shaq. And with Signal nga, you could see it on the court that it's translating to victories, because before last conference and this conference they've surprised many fans on their performance. But then for you, what did you see in this specific conference, in the all Filipino one, and that you could apply for the reinforce na, yung mga positive na pwede yung dalhin? And ano pa yung tingin mong pagkukulang nyo or pwede nyo pang improve na you could make it to the higher seed, like beat Creamline possibly in that tournament? So, ano yung mabibigay mong opinion on that?
I feel like since our team is, I would say, really young, because
Mm.
again we did the revamp like last year, so
Yeah,
we
yeah.
got in new players this year, so technically hindi pa talaga nag-go 1 year yung team, and we've
Mm.
already achieved those achievements or wins, diba? So parang what's big for us really is that we're able to build that connection and chemistry in a really short time.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't easy, especially that we were in a bubble for 2 months when the
Mm-hmm.
year started. We had 1 month for bubble training, 1 month for tournament training. So I guess that bubble really helped us, because you can't just be in training and build that chemistry. You also have to bond outside training to be able to get to know each other. So I think that's something that really helped us build our chemistry and connection inside the court. And it's also the way our coaches would lead us, yung turo nila, the way they coach us, the technicalities, but also the learnings that we get from them outside no the sport. And we also get to bond with them during our bubble. So I think it was really integral kasi we're really trying to build a team. And more than that, it's also the support of the Signal management that has been really putting us, or like really helping us get to where we are right now. But again, two seasons na medyo heartbreaking because we know na we could have done more and we were already there. Konting push na lang talaga. Andun na kami. May konting gigil pa talaga na, andun na talaga. Tapos wala na naman.
Mm.
But we've learned a lot from the past season. So I'm happy I'm with a team na is composed of players na masisipag and very
Mm-mm.
dedicated, very resilient, and parang very inspiring all at the same time. Parang you go to training inspired by their work ethic,
Mm-hmm.
especially Ate Rachel.
Yeah.
I'm actually in
Mm.
her room right now. Ate Rachel, di mo alam at nasa room mo ako ngayon. We're doing this podcast. No, she's
Mm.
I would really put a spotlight on Ate Shell as our captain because
Mm.
she has been very inspiring. Her work ethic, sobrang sipag nun. Sa umaga, mag-rehab, magti-training. Pagdating dito sa condo, she would, like, still do some exercises. So, just seeing
Mm.
that in her, parang it also, inspires us to do extra while we're here in the condo. Because again, I'm actually living with my teammates also. I'm
Oh,
living with
okay. That's
with
great.
four four other teammates with me. So, hindi
Mm.
lang kami nakikita sa training, pero sa bahay kami pa rin yung magkakasama.
Mm.
So, grabe na yung bonding namin dito. But yeah, I'm really happy that I'm with the Cignal team. But again, a lot of hard work like still needs to be put in training. Because again, hindi pa rin naman namin na-achieve yung goal talaga namin. We finished podium finish in 2 seasons. We finished bronze in both seasons in this year. But again, there's another tournament coming in. So I think, the preparation, the preseason preparation is really very, very integral for us, especially na may mga imports this coming reinforced conference.
Oh.
So yeah, a lot of still work to be done. And siguro andun na nabibuild na talaga yung team namin. And I hope the kind of chemistry we have and connection we have in training and even outside training, I hope it translates into our games in the future. And sana, makuha namin yung goal namin this time. But, Coach Shaq would always remind us to just stay in the present and really trust the process. And the process is the preparation. So, it's something that we're really trying to focus right now. Just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, it's very exciting for me as a volleyball fan. I'm excited to watch you guys compete again in the reinforced conference and make those small adjustments and be able to compete with the likes of Creamline and of course your import also, whoever she will be. Like I hope that she will be able to make a huge impact on your team. And moving on naman to the being an analyst, you mentioned a lot about it, kind of introvert ka, and being an analyst in front of the camera, it's really the opposite of being an introvert. Like you're in live TV for a couple of hours, talking like this, but then on TV, like about volleyball and small stories on the side. So maybe you could share kung saan ang galing naman yung passion mo or yung interest mo in being an analyst or being someone in sports media who would be able to share their knowledge and their thoughts on the sport of volleyball.
Oh wow, okay. So it was hard. The opportunity of becoming an analyst came early 2019 pre-pandemic. So um the people before in ABS-CBN Sports would message me, would ask me if I want to do it. They actually put me in a segment already, but they were trying to get me to be an analyst in the UAP, like part of the panel talaga.
Yeah.
There was like I
Mm.
can't because I felt like I wasn't ready. You will always have those moments na okay, this is not yet for me. Like
Mm.
it's not like I'm not ready for this. And it was
Mm.
because I'm scared. Like again, like what I told you before, I've always been nervous. So when that opportunity arrived, I was like, no, parang I would remember sila Sinjin, Mamalu, the people
Yeah.
in the production group, parang they would contact me, ask me if I can do a game in PVL that time back in
Mm-mm.
20. Hindi talaga. So fast forward to 2022, actually 2021 when they messaged me, maybe it's time for you to be an analyst. Like maybe this is the right time. So I did a couple of simulations with the anchors before and some other anchors that they were trying to get. They asked
Mm-hmm.
for a video. And then during that time, I remember having to reshoot a lot because sobrang obvious na I was getting nervous. Like, sobrang
Oh.
obvious sa voice ko. Like, hindi naman siya nagka-crack. But the way I speak, yung speed ng pagsasalita ko, my choice of words maybe, I'm not sure. But it's more of the speed talaga na I can't
Oh.
control na the way I speak. Kasi nga, parang kung ano lang naisip ko, yun lang. Like, wala talaga ako
Yeah.
control, especially pag kinakabahan ako. But then, as time goes by and as you practice, you just really get better. You don't get better by not taking that opportunity. You get better by putting yourself out there, just really trying to conquer your fear, and just being open-minded with and really wanting to grow and learn. And I think that what makes that the difference talaga, that want to learn and to grow. Na for
Mm-hmm.
me, I feel like also I'm that kind of person. I really like learning. So yun, so parang sobrang kinakabahan ako until they put me in the first game of UAP. Like they put me as an analyst in the very first game of the UAP of women's volleyball. So I was like, why me? Why do you want me to open UAP? Like, it's my first time. Like, there are a lot of other analysts way better than me. Like, who could open UAP and start that game. I was like, oh my gosh, sobrang nervous ko talaga. But again, they always say na parang doubt again. Like, it's something na parang I've always doubted myself, but I've never seen it as something negative because I have one mentor before, is also my friend, who told me na a lot of things is just a matter of perspective. So if you see
Mm-hmm.
doubt as something negative, syempre, it would really put you down. But he kind of pointed out to me, but because you doubt yourself, you prepare more.
Mm.
You do more because you doubt yourself, and that's something very positive. So I think ganun
Yeah.
ako. So when UAP, when I knew that I was gonna open UAP, I prepared a lot. Like,
Mm.
2 weeks pa lang, parang 1 week pa lang kinakabahan na talaga ako. Parang ang layo-layo pa. Like, alam mo yun, like, it would always be on my mind. Kinakabahan talaga ako. Like, I would really write notes. I would ask other analysts, other anchors, like, what can I do to prepare? Like, I would even write words na parang, na I can readily use when I would
Okay.
speak. So,
Yeah.
I would really prepare for it because I knew na I had to, because I don't see myself as someone good talaga. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type to really shy away from those kinds of stuff. So I remember my first coverage, I was literally shaking. Pre-game, pre-game
Yeah.
really makes me nervous. Kasi you're on cam, you have to look at the floor director, really like
Mm-hmm.
be in sync with, the VTR, everything, with the anchor. So, oh my gosh, I was really shaking. And I was
Yeah.
telling them, I'm so nervous. But again, you will never get that confidence if you don't try. But
Mm.
now that I've gained a lot of experience and that I've learned a lot from my past experiences, I'm not gonna say that I'm go to coverages not nervous, because I still get nervous,
Yeah,
but
for sure. Yes.
I'm more sure of myself, I guess. Like I know what to prepare for, because I would remember before, dapat on that day yun lang iniisip ko talaga. Like, hindi na ako magfa-function in other parts of my life kasi sa sobrang kaba ko, yun lang talaga. But now I get to function in other parts of, like, I get to train and anchor sa hapon. And then, yeah, I think it really takes a lot of experience for you to build that confidence, and that parang that momentum in what you're doing as well. But
Mm.
not just experience, it takes a lot of preparation, it takes a lot of learnings, it takes a lot of also of parang, alam mo yun, yung parang your willingness to learn from other people. I'm just lucky I'm
Mm.
surrounded with people who are really willing to help me, and gives me feedback talaga. I would remember before, I would ask pa, have you listened to my my coverage? What I sometimes you don't wait for that feedback. You really ask
Mm.
for it. Like I would ask them, like, how did I do? Like, what else can I do to be good, or like what can I improve? So
Mm.
it's not just in being an analyst, but in a lot of things also at work and in life na you can also use, especially when you're really interested in what you're doing and you really want to be good at it, and if you really want to learn, you can't just give up in the first try. You have to keep on trying talaga if that's something you want to do in the future. So, but for in my case, it's something that I didn't see myself doing. But I kind of told this ata to one of my friends na parang like some opportunities they arrive, but also because there are people that will make you realize your potential. Because
Mm.
sometimes we have potentials we don't see because we don't really trust ourselves, or we don't believe in ourselves na we're capable of. But I guess some people are blessings na they kind of point it out and give you that opportunity. Hey, parang kaya mo to, you might want to try this out, baka kaya mo, you look like you're someone who can do it, like why not try it? So I guess in
Mm.
my case yun yung nangyari, kasi if they would put something na parang audition for analyst. No. No, I wouldn't do it. Like I'm not the type to audition myself as an analyst. But again, they messaged me, they said, "Do you wanna try? We'll do some simulations. We feel like you're someone who would fit the job." Okay, you saw the potential in me. Like, okay, sige, I will try. Like, and then until I just really got better, and not because I'm good, but because a lot of people helped me.
Yeah. And I really enjoy listening to you on the panel kasi nga for me, like sometimes when I watch the games, I don't know, even when I was a kid, I'd listen to the people talking also, not just what's going on. I don't know. That's why siguro nga, I really want to be in sports media also kasi nung bata pa lang, it's been a habit now that I also listen to the analyst and the anchor, the court side, and everyone that talks about the game. So even the ones on Twitter, ganun, like that talaga tinitingnan ko eh. Pero being an analyst nga for UAP and sobrang bilis din ng season, and then now also for the other volleyball tournaments like Spikers Turf. What would you say that what would you say is the facet that you've grown the most in being a analyst, and what would you say is the what do you call the contribution of the other people who are there by your side, and how they're able to guide you in reaching the growth that you want to achieve every game or every tournament that you're able to call?
I think more than anything else that I have improved, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's the way I project myself now. I feel like I'm more confident now when I hold the mic and
Mm-hmm.
when I speak. Like before, I would rattle pa na parang kinakabahan pa rin ako, as like hindi lang, when I say kaba, hindi lang siya yung yung konting kaba lang. Like literally nagsishake ako while
Immense
I'm
talaga.
covering a game. Like
Mm-hmm.
intense kaba talaga. And people won't believe me kasi I received a lot of good feedbacks talaga.
Uh,
Like they keep on saying na, hey, you're really doing well, congratulations, and it's really
mm-hmm.
heartwarming. But again, people only see the surface and the outside, the appearance and everything, but they don't know what's
Mm-hmm.
happening inside. I'm
Mm-hmm.
literally shaking. So I think I've really improved in that part. I'm able to manage, my anxiety and yung kaba ko during coverage. And the challenging part din talaga as an analyst, because you're put in as a partner with different anchors. So
Yeah.
you also adjust in how they speak, like how they manage the game. Kasi usually we just react to what they're saying, or they throw
Mm-hmm.
questions to us. Like I'm not sure if people outside, people who are not really interested in the sports industry or the sports knows it, but we have an analyst and an anchor, and usually the anchor really leads you in, and then
Mm-hmm.
the analyst just reacts to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think yun din yung parang I've already adjusted na kahit sino yung partner ko, I'm able to adjust and really try to do well with analyzing the game, or really speaking, or like putting life into whatever's happening to the game. So yeah, that's I think one thing that I've improved.
Mm.
But also, again, it's the people around me. I'm the type to really learn, really want to learn. So whenever I'm in the prod room, like I would ask some other analysts or anchors, like, how do you see the game? Like, how do you analyze it? Like, where do you
Yeah.
focus? Like, let's say when we talked about volleyball, na parang, oh, I focus more on the systems, I focus more on the individual athletes, or parang ganon. So,
Mm.
no, I really try to reach out and ask na parang, how do you see it, what do you usually do, so that I get that kind of perspective, and I try to blend it in how I see the game as a whole. So yeah, it's
Mm.
been an interesting journey so far, especially that I have partnered with different people in the
Mhm.
industry na, before I was a player and I was just wondering na, how do they do it? Like, ano kaya iniisip nila while they're doing it? So
Mm.
now that I'm able to partner with some anchors na nakita ko lang before, it has been really big for me.
Yeah. How about with these two passions that you have, volleyball and being an analyst? What would you say is the future of the volleyball and maybe the content that you need to produce, like media wise, for the people to continue watching or for the sport to continue growing? Lalo na now, everyone's shifting to more social media, more sa internet rather than watching on TV per se. So, what would you say is the future of sorry, what do you think is the future of volleyball and sports media, like being intertwined together?
Honestly, it's becoming really big. It's becoming
Mm-hmm.
really big. Sports in the Philippines, especially with the basketball and volleyball right now, and even some sports really growing. Like, if you're an not a volleyball fan, if you're a fan of sports, you would
Mm-hmm.
really see different sports growing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
especially after the Olympics, when we had a lot of gold medalists or silver medalists, those big events, hindi man yun volleyball or basketball, but
Mm-hmm.
that was very inspiring for everyone in the Philippines. And I feel like, it the sports in the Philippines is just, starting to really grow big. So it's very interesting na a lot of people are now interested in being in, like you being in sports media. Like in my case,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in sports psychology. That different
Mm-hmm.
departments or aspects of, the sports industry is really really growing right now. So it just means that, sports in the Philippines is also growing. So I'm just happy that, it's not just us, kasi syempre we're growing, and I'm happy for the next generations as well, that they will be able to grow up in a country na sports is really supported, na it's seen as something that can change a life, na
Mm-hmm.
it's seen as something na could really develop you as a person. Because I would see articles na parang, if you want your kid to grow, to develop, to grow up as someone resilient, or someone very dedicated, committed to life and a lot of things, like, put him or her in a sport. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna learn a lot in the sport. You're gonna learn how to be committed. Na parang, alam mo yun, when you go to training, you have to really be there. The focus, the effort you put into, the kind of discipline that you have to put into training, the hard work and everything. So a lot of values really that can be learned into sports. And again, you know, in the sports media aspect, the people in sports media also has that power to, make or break a career of an athlete, diba?
Yeah.
For sure, you know that,
Yeah.
how powerful words are. And
Mm.
especially with media right now, na it's so easy to post something, or like put something or upload something that people will believe in, because not a lot of people knows how to do fact check.
Yeah.
there so
Yeah.
so a lot of power is put into us who are in the media industry, sports media industry right now. So I hope that, now that I'm talking, I hope na hindi lang yung athletes yung ma-inspire, but also the people who wants to work in the sports industry, we have the power to make someone, become bigger in the sports, or someone lose his or her career. But I hope we all use that power really wisely, and they really take good care of the athletes, because at the end of the day, tao pa din naman sila eh. Like,
Mm.
we don't really know what they're going through. So I hope we really use our words, correctly, and use that power in the right direction. Kasi
Mm.
really, media in general is becoming really big. Like,
Mm.
I couldn't even explain it. Like, it's just really big right now, social
Yeah.
media in general. So
Mm.
really, the people in the industry, media industry, has the power, a lot of power, given that they have, put really their words into life, and people will just easily believe it.
Yeah, that's a great answer talaga. And I hope that people, yeah, get to hear that and learn more from the thoughts that you shared. But yeah, it's great having you on the podcast, Ayel. But before we wrap up, I asked my guests a couple of questions that I'd also want to ask you. It's actually a great follow up to that last question that I asked, because
Okay, okay.
in the NBA, in the bubble, when the players were more vocal with the social and political issues like the George Floyd killing and the Biden and the Donald Trump elections, they were more vocal in expressing their thoughts and opinions with what's going on in their country. And in the Philippines, alam mo naman yan na yung mga Filipinos, they're usually laid back and they're more timid and they just make whatever goes on. But then now you also know that it has changed. Like in the pandemic, the Filipinos are more vocal and using social media as like a platform or any sort of way in order to get their point across on their opinion on social and political issues. So for you as a sports personality, na player, analyst, and hopefully sports psychologist in the future, like what would you say, or what's your opinion on athletes and sports personalities being vocal and using their platform to talk about social and political issues?
I think it's a really brave thing.
Hmm.
Like what you said, Filipinos are very laid back. And
Hmm.
the toxic culture of, sports fans, and not just sports fans, but Filipinos in general.
Yeah.
There's so much toxic culture in social media right now, na parang I would see comments before na parang ano bang pake mo, ano, parang atleta ka lang naman, like, what
Yeah.
do you know? Like, but
Hmm.
again, I keep on trying to reiterate na more than being athletes, tao din naman kami. We're still human
Mm.
beings. So we have our own stance in certain issues. We have our opinions, we have our thoughts about different social, political issues, economic issues, happening in
Mhm.
the country, or even happening in the world.
Yeah.
So just like anyone else, we have the right to really stand on what we believe in. So I feel like the athletes who are more vocal, I think they're very brave, because I'm
Mm.
pretty sure there are a lot of athletes who want to speak out but are really scared to be judged, or to
Mhm.
be put in a limelight na parang very negative in other people's eyes, kasi
Mhm.
I know we all have different opinions in different issues. So I believe, yun nga, I would say na they're really brave for doing it, and I hope that more athletes would, not I wouldn't say I encourage them, but I
Yeah.
hope that whatever they stand for, whatever they believe in, they stay strong to it. They don't have to be very vocal about it, but I hope
Mhm.
they're open to talk about it. Not doesn't have to be in social media, but to their families, because again, we have realized that there is a lot of power in conversations. 'Di ba? So I hope that they stay strong to what they believe in, and not be, what do you call that, parang wag mapanghina ng loob na dahil lang sa the possible judgment that they would get from
Mhm.
their fans, or the Filipinos, or their supporters, or people in general, because there's so
Mhm.
much change. They have also the power to create impact and change. So
Mhm.
if that is something that could go further positively, then it's gonna be a really big thing.
Yeah, it's very encouraging, like nung approaching elections, that people would talk about it more and be more open to it. And yeah, hopefully it's just not because of the elections. I mean, sana
Yeah,
magtuloy-tuloy din yan, even with all the events that happen in the middle of all the elections, because it's not only elections that happens naman. I mean, that's just like maybe the climax of it, because you
that's
elect the
true.
leaders. But then there's so many things that happen in the middle of it. So yeah, hopefully people are more informed and educated and also open to talk about these things. But yeah, for the next question, this is just a fun question. If you had the opportunity to have dinner with five people, dead or alive, who would you invite?
Oh my gosh, that's tough. That's tough. Okay. Um, top of mind actually. So I have this favorite book. It was written by Augustus Curry. It's he's a sociologist. I'm not sure of his nationality. I read his books. It was translated to English. It was a trilogy,
Oh,
but
it's
I
in
only
English.
read two books. So
Mm-mm.
it was a really good book. It was a
Mm-mm.
really good book. I would sit on him over dinner and talk about life. Legit.
Mm-mm.
And then in terms of sports, I would want Kobe Bryant to be there. You know,
Mm-mm.
a lot of people really look up to him, his mindset, the dedication he put into not just in training but in trying to build his family as well. He had life outside, his sport. He was able to produce, write a book.
Mm-mm.
So as a person, he was close to perfect, I would say. Like someone I would say close to perfect.
Mm-mm.
Um and the three other with my family, my mom, my dad, and my brother, who has been away from me because I'm here in Manila and they're back in Bacolod. So I would
Okay.
just want that kind of very meaningful, dinner with someone that, people that really inspire me.
Yeah, it's a terrific list for sure. And yeah, that's a great question that people give like the most random answers here on the
But that's
podcast.
hard, ah.
Yeah.
Kasi
Yeah.
you're given just like a few seconds, a few minutes to think about it. But I'm
Yeah.
sure, like, if given a chance to really think about it, there are a lot of other people that I would maybe think about and put in that
Mm.
list. Yeah.
Ganda nga ng mga sagot ng mga iba, like, I get surprised. Parang it's like, wow, okay. Yung mga ganong mga, like, some people would say Hitler. I'm like, why would you want to have dinner with Hitler? Yung mga ganon. Yeah, it's funny. It's
that
funny.
that's
But then,
crazy
yeah.
top of mind.
Yeah, that's why. That's why. Yeah, but for the final question that I want to ask you, you know that I invite my guests through social media and email, and I just try to build like a network, because I'm not really like in social. I'm not really in sports media yet, and I'm not like in Signal or like in any of those networks yet. So who would you invite? Who would you suggest that I could invite here on the podcast that would have a great story to tell, or masarap lang sila makipagkwentuhan about sports. Like, yeah, it doesn't need to be volleyball necessarily. It could be any sport. So, yeah, who would you suggest?
Any sport, like an athlete or someone in the sports industry.
Yeah, anything, anyone in sports, the sports industry in general. Doesn't need to be an athlete per se.
Are you familiar with Sir Marcos Manalo?
No, who is that?
He's
Sorry.
he's a sports psychologist. He's the sports
Mm,
psychologist of the boxing team who won several medals in the Olympics.
mm.
I kind of worked with him before. He's still a sports psychologist of the boxing team right now, I believe, and
Oh,
some
okay.
other teams. And he takes like individual sessions as well with athletes. He's a really good sports psychologist. I consider him as a mentor. I'm sure he will be able to share a lot of his experience during the Olympics, how
Mm-mm.
he was able to, build the athletes mentally, because I what I've known of, he's been with the boxing team for a long time. He handled the bowling national team as well. Worked with UP, worked with a lot of volleyball teams, Army, Petron before. So I'm
Oh,
sure he
okay.
has a lot of, of things to share about the mental side of sports and also like the
Mm.
journey of athletes at the same time.
Wow, that's a great suggestion, and I really enjoy that suggestion. Like some people give nga suggestions that I don't know, and like that makes me more interested. So yeah, thank you for that suggestion, and also thank
Okay.
you, Ayel, for joining me here in the podcast. I enjoyed listening to you and your stories and your journey here in volleyball, and not just in volleyball, and also all the things that opened up because of volleyball. So yeah, thank you so much for joining on the podcast. And do you
Thank
have
you
any
so
final
much for
message?
having me.
Yeah, do you have any final message?
Um, well, first of all, thank you to you, Diego, for having
Yeah,
me. Like,
yeah.
we I go to training every day, like I work every day, I have a lot of things to do. But having this platform also to share what I'm doing and just being able to inspire other people is a big thing. Because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, that's something that we also want to do. We want our stories to reach other people, to inspire other people, and to at least give them a little hope or a little something to help them move forward in whatever way. And
Mm-hmm.
I think to whoever's listening to this podcast, I
Yeah.
hope na you have enjoyed this, you've taken something out of this podcast, and I hope you'll be inspired to pursue bigger things in the future, because I'm sure we've talked a lot about sports and the things I've done, but more than anything else, it's just about life and the process and everything that we go through it. How we're able to bounce back every time we go through some challenges and struggles. But yeah, just keep moving forward. No, whatever happens, life goes on. Just live in every moment.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Ayel. And before you go, is it okay if we take a picture?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll take it from here.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. So thank you again, Ayel,
Okay.
for joining me on the
Thank you
podcast.
so
And yeah,
much.
stay safe out there.
Had a great time.